Hey guys, this is Issues with Toddie1Skip. I am Toddie1Skip. Welcome back to my channel, and thank you guys. I should say welcome back to our channel, because without you there's no channel, and I know that. So again, I always say that time is something we can't get back. As I mentioned earlier, I don't know which video is coming out first. Today, now almost 3 hours ago, my dad took his last breath about 3 years ago. Well, not about 3 years ago. 3 years ago, my dad took his last breath about 3 hours ago. He died of COVID. He was 86, just shy of his 87th birthday, which would have been in August. And, you know, I've told you a few stories about my dad. I'm hoping I could, you know, tell you more stories about him. I do have a video where I talk about my childhood and I bring up my dad. He was a real complex guy. And as you all know, he was a career criminal up until he was about 45. And then he turned his life around and became a millionaire, multi-millionaire. He owned a company that, well, it's called Home Buyer's Warranty. It's still in business, but my dad was the one that started it, and he sold it in 1997, I want to say. Because in 1998, he gave all of his kids some money. Me too. So I don't have any of that money left, and it was substantial. It was substantial, and I would tell you exactly what it was, except that, you know, I'm not the only person he gave money to, so it's not up to me to tell you my siblings' business as well. That being said, so, you know, my dad was very quick-witted. So my dad was very quick-witted, and I'd like to think that I have picked up some of his personality. Well, I know that I have. He was very quick-tongued, and that was a trait that wasn't, I don't think it was one of his best qualities. And unfortunately, I picked that up. And, you know, I've since tried to make sure that I keep that in check unless I honestly need it. Because it is a tool if it's used the right way, and not so much a tool if not used the right way. You know, it could be a horrible trait if it's not used the right way. You have to be responsible with, we have to be responsible with the way we present ourselves, with our reactions. I was talking to somebody earlier, and we were talking about, you know, they were talking about all the things that we could be responsible for, and I said, yo, man, you only have control over only one thing. We have control over just one thing, and that is the way that we act and or react. We have control over that. So we don't have control over our first thoughts. We don't have control over our hearts. We only have control over how we behave. End of it. So if we could take all the energy that we think we can control and have control over and put it all into the one thing that we have control over, which is ourselves, we would be a lot better off. So there's some food for thought with your eggs. I get people here now from Australia. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's with your Vegemite then, right? You guys are big Vegemite? I'm not making fun. I'm asking. I know what they eat in Scotland, and I've had it. I've had the, what is that? Oh, I've had both of those weird things you guys have, and I don't mean that in a bad way, because I liked them both too. What is it? Blood pudding, and then there's something else that you guys have. I didn't like the blood pudding so much, but I liked the other thing. Oh, I just had it. Haggis. Haggis. Yeah, I like the haggis. Anyway, guys. I just lost my train of thought. Yeah, guys, so we only have control over just that one thing. And that is over how we present ourselves, basically. How we show up for things. And that's an important thing. You know, because that is the thing that tells people who we are. You know, we can chit-chat and tell people anything that we want, But when people start seeing the action different than the words, they see who we are. We can tell them all we want, but anybody with any kind of brains and can see us is actually going to say, you know, I'm not really like that. Hopeful, wishful, maybe wanting to be like that, but actually very much different and not in a good way. So, you know, that's why I'm always like, guys, we got to own our stuff. We got to own our stuff. Me too, me too, me too, me too, me too. I got some comments. In the comments, a lot of people spoke on the drug issue, and I got some emails. Would I speak on the drug issue? I'm hoping to do that on Jen's birthday, because it's important to me that people don't dismiss anybody, including my late wife, my late ex-wife, including my late ex-wife, as just a drug addict. Because I'm telling you, some of my most favorite people are recovering addicts. They are people that feel the world in such a way that I think it hurts them, and they have to medicate themselves. They do need, that's not an excuse. Listen, that's not an excuse. That's not an excuse. Because we still need to feel that way, right? We just need the tools to keep going sober and feeling that way. So whether the outlet being writing or singing or playing the guitar or anything that gives us the same, not just the same dopamine, you know, that same high, but just keeps us going from day to day. As somebody said to me, how'd you stop? A few of you, how'd you stop? Well, I was in my early 20s, and I was ignorant to withdrawals. And I was also told when I did ask about withdrawals once, because I did coke and I snorted it, that I wouldn't go through withdrawals. And I don't know if that's true or not, but I believed them, and I didn't. So mind over matter, or I don't know. But I knew for the biggest thing is that I did not want to do that anymore. I did not want to be controlled by figuring out, well, how I was going to get what I needed for the day to make myself feel good. It just became almost like such a job. And so when I didn't want to do it anymore, I also had to move away. And then I kind of took it each time that I would think about it. I'd say, okay, not today, but I will. Because I never lied to myself and said, I didn't love it, you know. And the same way when I quit smoking, you know, I loved smoking, and you know, now I hate the smell, but there are still times that once in a great while that'll be a good smell, you know. And it's weird because sometimes it's like, oh my God, especially the after smell. But sometimes I think when people light up, I don't know, trigger warning, but I just say, yeah, not right now. And then I never think about it again, you know what I'm saying? So I kind of like, you know, but I never, you know, when people say, oh, smoking was so gross. No, it wasn't. I mean, I don't like necessarily the way it looks when a woman smokes, but it wasn't gross. It, you know, there were a lot of things that I smoked for decades. So I've always been more or less really honest with, yeah, I liked COKE. You know, I'm not going to lie about it, but I'm not going to do it today. I'll do it, you know, in a few years from now when I got it under control. Well, that's what I kept saying, and now a few years has turned into almost, you know, 4 decades. So, you know, but also there is a difference between a drugs abuser and a drugs addict. And the difference is this. Let me give you a good example. I'm going to be completely 100% transparent here. When I was doing coke, I wasn't a drug addict. I was a drugs abuser. Okay? Because I was able to stop. I was able to stop. I did move away, but I was able to stop. Since I've been diagnosed with Lyme, and since I've had this horrible, horrible pain that is just, it's just horrific. And it's so many different feelings. Sometimes my ear feels like it's literally bleeding on the inside. And when I touch there, I feel it here. That's just so messed up. And it hurts. Like, it hurts. And I do need those trigger shots. And sometimes when I don't get them in time, it just hurts so much more. And I have to take pain pills. Now, so guys, I'm sorry. Well, I'm not sorry. I mean, I left work. It was a little busy, so I decided I'd stop recording there and pay more attention to work because it needed my direct attention and immediate attention. So, all right. So I'm back here. So what I was saying was that I have chronic Lyme and I have this horrible nerve damage in my ear. And sometimes it feels like my ear is like bleeding and it just hurts. Anyway, because of that, I get these trigger shots, right? And these trigger shots, it probably takes about 3 or 4 days, about 4 days for them to, you know, like kick in. And then, you know, they only last for like maybe 2.5, 3 weeks. So there's a gap of time. And even when I take the trigger shots, usually, you know, when I am like 6 hours into my day, I have to take a pain pill because it just hurts. Now, I alternate the pain pills. I take ibuprofen, gabapentin, and then, you know, the one with codeine. So, but I mean, I take, instead of taking like the codeine, and I don't get that much codeine, I take like the ibuprofen. Anyway, it just hurts a lot. But what I'm saying in that is that if I all of a sudden stopped taking the codeine for like, and perhaps even the gabapentin, if I stopped taking that, I think that I would go through withdrawals because like if I just suddenly stopped taking it, how could that be? I've been on it for almost 2 years now, I'd have to say, you know what I'm saying? So, and there's nothing that can be done. So, you know, so I would say that definition wise, I need my drugs and I would probably, what's the word I'm looking for? I would probably withdraw and have the symptoms not maybe as bad as somebody who, you know, takes a lot more, or if somebody takes even a worse drug, obviously. But I still would go through withdrawal symptoms, so my body needs it, so I am addicted to it, right? Am I a drug addict? So that term, drug addict, that would be me. But when people say drug addict, they think of that bum that lives under the street and is of their down and out. That is not true. There are drug addicts that are functional and very wealthy and wear nice suits, and you wouldn't think that they were drug addicts until you went to their house and they offered you a line. Seriously. So, you know, it's hard to determine. Not everybody hits rock bottom, so to think of somebody poorly as a drug addict, I would ask how, you know, what happened. And sometimes it has to do with doctors prescribing poor things. I'm 61 years old, so I might be on pain pills for the rest of my life. There isn't anything they can do. I mean, unless I was to get like, I don't know, more and more trigger shots, I don't know how good that is either. I'm not a pincushion, but you know what I'm saying? So I think that drug addicts gives it a bad rap. Like that's what happened with Breonna Mitchell. They tried to take that word and those two words. Forget that Chris Greger, you know, was, I think, a blatant alcoholic, pardon me, alleged blatant alcoholic and engaged in drugs. They tried to make Breonna look bad because she had struggled with drugs and has now been sober for over 3 years. Come on. So guys, you know what I'm saying? Like you can't, first thing is why? How did that happen? And some people seriously, like I said, they go to the doctors, they say, my back hurts, they slipped, they fell. And instead of the doctor giving them like even Tylenol 3, I mean, why did they jump all the way to OxyContin, and why was that okay? Why was that okay? They created drug addicts, and they created drug addicts for synthetic heroin. So when people couldn't get their drugs, the doctor just cut them off, didn't even like try to help them withdraw easily from it, like to wean them off of it. They knew this. Then people went out on the streets and they bought shit, and some of that stuff was fucking laced with stuff, and people died. They take no responsibility for that. And it's about money. That's sad. And that's sick. That's criminal. It's disgusting. And the fact that it happened so widely and blatantly and people lied to the people, that really is horrible. Horrible, horrible situation, that. So it's very difficult, and it bothers me when people make people feel bad about their past, or if somebody's honestly trying. Listen, I get it. If somebody's not trying and they're stealing and they're you know, yes, you got to let them go, walk away until they make the effort to get better. And they have to show that. You know what I'm saying? I was a drug addict for about 3 years. I paid for it for about fucking 20. No shit. You know, oh, you know, well, the minute I'd be late for something, I wonder if she's doing drugs again. You know, I'm serious. You're an active addict for so long, but then in people's eyes, it takes a long time to become something else in people's eyes. And sometimes that doesn't happen. And that's really fucking sad for that person, because you made efforts and made changes, and yet you're still that person that they deemed you as 30, 40 years ago. You know what I'm saying? Demi Moore, and I keep repeating this saying, she said, when somebody decides who you are, you can never be anything else. And that is so true. Listen to that. If somebody decides who you are, you can never be anything else. And they could decide that you're somebody that you're not. You know? So, anyway, guys, I do want to tell the people that are out there struggling that, you know, obviously, oh, and somebody wrote, I just want to say this. First of all, here's Jen's, look, there's Jen's, right? There's Jen's plaques. Jen's plaques are here. So, see? And so what we're going to do with this, on June 20th, I'm going to try to get PayPal for Toddie1Skip and Cash App. And those are the two things. That's the best that I could do. And you're not required to buy these. And you're not required to donate. And there's no super chats. So, you know, guys, there's no real benefit of being a member in my on this page or on this channel. And I mean that because I can't do things just for members. What I am going to try to do is I've reached out to the person that said that they were interested in doing some merch, and they did. They did a great design of me with the slogan that be better today than yesterday. But I felt like maybe you guys don't want my face on you. So I asked that maybe something else could happen. You have the option of having my face, but also something else. And he just said, listen, just be patient with me because I do have work, and I am. I'm trying to be patient, but I'm not trying to be patient. I am being patient. And I did reach out to him and say, listen, do you think there's any way that, I mean, you could keep whatever designs you're working on, but for the members, is there any way that we could just do a little something on the shirt that, you know, we can give to the members? So I'm trying to do something. So that's the way I figured that would be okay, right? So because I do want to benefit the members, but I don't want to exclude the people that just can't do that, you know. And it's just, anyway, I love the support that you show me. You guys have hit me up on Cash App too. I mean, thank you so much. R keeps hitting me up on Cash App. Please understand how much I appreciate that. Please know how much I appreciate everything, because money is a hard thing to come by. I know that. I work overtime, and I do count on this YouTube money. I mean, you know, even if it's just to put away, because I hope to retire, and you know, anyway, guys, I just want to tell you how much I honestly appreciate it, you know. Anyway, so, I wanted to just say, so we're going to sell these, and they're going to be $5 for one, 3 for $10. Now, they're $1 and probably a quarter for one that I paid, you know, because I think they're 89 cents each or something like that. Don't quote me on that, but they're something like that. And then with stamp and envelope, probably $1 and a quarter, right? So obviously there's going to be a profit there. That profit is going to go to the bench, the bench for Jennifer. So I want to have Jennifer have a bench in a park in Arlington, Virginia, or Alexandria. I've asked her best friend to check it out. Her best friend has gotten back to me, you know, a while ago. This was months ago, and said it was $3,000. So I've bought Jen in Woodstock, where Yasgur's farm is, the original Woodstock. Jen and I went there, and you know, Jen loved. She loved like Jimi Hendrix and like the old. She liked stuff that was older than the stuff that I loved. You know, she turned me on to stuff that was older than the stuff that I loved, you know. Anyway, we went to Yasgur's farm. Before it was, now it's the Bethel Woods, and it's a whole different thing. But and I put one of the plaques there and took a picture of it. Again, you could go to Jen Morris. This is Instagram. You can go to Jen Morris _ Jen, Jen Morris, MORRIS _ under the bench, and you can see, you know, where people are, you know, these are friends and family that are taking photos and putting them, you know, around. They're taking pictures of the plaque where they put it. And so, you know, somebody will say Jen Morrison, just mention her name and her essence. Well, I just want, you know, again, when I feel like when people are gone, if you stop talking about them, they were never here. And Jen doesn't have anybody to really talk about her except her friends, and you know, she has some family, not a lot of family left. So I just wanted her name to keep going on, and for people to know her story and check out the Instagram, you know, and you know, so that's all. Anyway, guys, you know, I told you that, so with that, you would buy that, and then I would send the sticker, I would send it, mail it to you. So that's it. And you don't have to. But so on the PayPal and in the Cash App, you'll have to please put, you know, your address, name and address, so I can mail them to you. I have to mail them to you. If you can't fit all that, just put your address and let me mail it to you. Okay? So I would really appreciate that. And that's it. You know, there's no pressure, no anything about it. I'm not going to keep talking about the stickers, or they're not really stickers. They're metal stickers, I guess metal plaques. So hang on a second. Hang on a second. So you see, you just pop the circle off, and there's sticky underneath. They're really strong adhesives. You can see that that these are in places. If you go to that Instagram page that I said, Jen Morris _ under the bridge. Again, I wanted to I don't know, talk to you. So that's June 20th, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I believe that Lindsay Valandria, as long as she can make it, is going to be there. Otherwise, it'll just be me by myself, and that's cool. That's cool. I think that, you know, I could tell you the story about Jen, but you could also see clearly the story about Jen. You can certainly ask me questions about Jen. Somebody said online that I took advantage of her because I was a guard. I was not a guard. I was a commissary manager, and the most I could do is take away her commissary, which would be a very big deal to somebody. You're absolutely correct, but I didn't do that. I didn't do that. I want you to know that I met Jen, and we say July 19th, July 19th, 1997, I met Jennifer. And the first time that I kissed. She got out. I left in October because I just couldn't. I couldn't keep working there and having feelings for Jennifer because I knew that that was wrong. And we had written to each other, so I did break rules. We had written to each other. She used to write to me at my ex-partner's house, which was my house as well, but I didn't live there at the time. And she used to call there. And that was it. That was it. I didn't put money on her books. I don't think I gave her free commissary. I might have, because there would be times that there would be broken candy bars and stuff and we give them away. And I probably did give to one of the girls that lived in the same block as her, but there were no notes going back and forth. I couldn't put that girl in that kind of, any kind of, I didn't want to be jeopardizing anything. Jen got out in November. I left in October. Jen got out in November and went to a halfway house. The first time I kissed Jen was May 24th. It was my birthday, 1998. 9 months after I met her, right? And she was already out for several months. Because I wanted to make sure that, you know, she was young. I wanted to make sure it was what she wanted. Because I was old. I wasn't going to go to bars and stuff like that. And, you know, so... Anyway, yeah, so when somebody said that, I just felt like, yeah, I wasn't in that position. And I'm not icky. So, yeah. Anyway, and that's about it. I really just, I don't know, I wanted to talk a little bit about my dad, but it didn't seem that I did that, huh? So his birthday is August 13th, so perhaps that day I will tell you stories about my dad, because he was a good guy. He was a good guy who unfortunately got taken advantage of. And, you know, there's a true crime story behind this one. I think so. Allegedly. I can honestly say, allegedly, that there's a true crime story that had to do with a child. And I called Child and Family Services a few times on that person. And, but my dad, I think, really tried to protect that child. So maybe one day I'll tell you that story if you guys have an interest in that. That child is still around, and that child is now, I want to say, 18 years old, but has disabilities. I think that, I think the wrong person got charged with that, and I think it was done to manipulate my dad. So my dad never got charged with anything like that. My dad actually went to court and made sure that the grandmother of the child got the child. But I think it was the grandmother of the child, allegedly, but I think it was the grandmother of the child that did the damage, and took the child so that my dad could take care of the child, because my dad was very, very wealthy at the time, and my dad didn't want to really be with that woman anymore. So that's what I think happened, and one day I can tell you that story because nobody got charged for anything. The kids, again, grown up. I could keep saying allegedly, but I mean, there's a story there because it's in the newspaper. I just think the wrong person got charged. I know that I called Child and Family Services. So when I say things about children, I have my own experience in that. And besides being a counselor and working with young adults and kids, I put my money where my mouth is. You guys know that when I was working at the as a drugs counselor for the juveniles, that I was a whistleblower. You guys know that, and that's why I left. And I mean, the detectives or the police would have to have something on that. That's got to be what, over 10, fuck, that's probably 15 years ago now, 10, 12, I don't know. But, you know, so, but I mean, even in my own family, I'm going to protect children. I put my money where my mouth is. Hold on, because my new dog, I hear her like chewing away at something. What do you, hey! No. All right, guys. Anyway, let me go take care of this situation, and I have to go to bed at some point. Danny, You guys have a great Saturday. I'll probably see you later tonight. Enjoy yourself. Thanks for being there for me. Thank you for that, guys. I appreciate you, all of you. All 9,000 and so many of you guys. I really appreciate you. All right, guys, this is Issues with Toddie1Skip. I am Toddie1Skip. Please subscribe. Half of you are. Doesn't cost anything. We don't bite. Some of us bite. Don't tell. All right, guys, take care. Be better today than you were yesterday. Not half as good as you'll be tomorrow.